Hi there, welcome to Camping Secrets. I'm Marky Mark. Really excited to have a new e-bike to review. This has been sent to us by the company Lankelesai and it's come all the way from China. It's an absolute huge fat tired bike with a ton of power, 750 watt motor, and that is a lot of power, and it can peak up to almost 1200 watts. So when you start pedaling on this or use the throttle, which it comes with, you get a real shot in the back, and puts a big grin on your face. So I've had the bike for about 2 weeks now and been riding it around. That's not enough to give a full review, but I'll come back with a later review, in 6 months or so time. This is my initial impressions. I just want to take you through the main features of the bike and then the pros and cons as I see it at the moment. So let's just work from the basics. The frame is aluminium, 6061 aluminium tubing. And as I said before, we've got these big fat tires on the wheels. So the tires are 26-inch tires, which are 4 inches across. So really sizable, really good cushioning. Very similar to the Himiway Cobra that I reviewed a few months ago. Similar sized tires to that. But this really does have more poke, more power. And it's got great specs. When you consider that the price on Lankelesai's UK website is only £2,099 at the moment, and you can maybe even get another 50 quid off depending on the time and discount code that you use. When you consider it's that much, what you're getting on this is pretty mind-blowing, if I'm honest. You've got full hydraulic brakes at front and rear, and you really need those on an e-bike. This weighs 33 kilograms. So it's lighter than the Himiway that I tested, which was up at 39 kilograms. 33 kilograms is a substantial saving, and this rides much more like a bike. It's still really heavy, but it feels less of a cruiser and more closer to a normal mountain bike as you'd typically ride. But of course, you've got those big tires. But as I was saying, with these you really do need hydraulic disc brakes on an e-bike of this size and weight. So they work really well. I have heard reports that the pads disintegrate quite quickly. Well, wear quite quickly, not disintegrate. And again, that's tied to the weight of the bike. And also maybe they're not the highest quality brake pads. But I haven't had the bike long enough to ascertain that yet, so that's something I'll be monitoring over time. But it should be an easy job to put in higher quality pads. We've got full suspension on this bike. We've got a really nice air shock on the back, so that's a D&M air shock. So that provides decent rebound on the back, and you can add air to it if you need to and lock it out. It's got all the lockout features on the shock if you require. And then on the front there's a oil shock, and and it seems to work well. Less adjustable, you can lock that out as well and adjust the reload, although that doesn't seem active at the moment. But I'm not someone who really fiddles with stuff like that. I just like to ride the bike, so for me that's fine. On the handlebars, this has got a full throttle, so you don't even have to pedal on this. And I thought you weren't allowed to have those in the UK. I think you're meant to only use a throttle if you're on private land. I know in the States you're allowed them, but it does work really well. It does limit the speed at which you can go, and I think that's what they've adjusted. But there are instructions on YouTube to basically de-restrict the bike, and I have done that just for test purposes, Your Honour. As I say, the brake levers control the hydraulic discs. They're up on the handlebars as you'd expect, and it has got 7-speed gears. You don't need many gears on an e-bike because you've got that power coming from the motor. The motor's located in the rear wheel here, and then it's got the 7 cogs of the chain set on the back with the motor. So it is a Bafang motor, and as I said, it's 750 watts of average power, going up to around 1100 watts of peak power, and you really can feel it. It gets its power from the battery, and that's stored in the down tube here, and that is fully removable. So it comes with some keys. You basically remove this cover, the battery comes out, and you can go and charge it in your kitchen or wherever you want to, in the garage. But also there is a little charging point on the down tube here, and you can plug it in situ if you don't want to remove the battery, you know, and just do it where you leave the bike. So that's cool. The saddle's a bit big, a bit clunky. It might be the first thing I'd change. It has got a quick release seat post, so you can adjust that quite easily. And there's only one size of frame, so I'm 6'3" and it's absolutely fine for me. I might like the saddle up a little bit higher, so you may be able to get one with a slightly longer post underneath, because that's about the highest it will go, and I find it a little low for my requirements, but easily adjustable. Pedal wise, it just comes with flat pedals, and actually talking about what comes with the bike, it's really good for, again, the money you pay. So you get your pedals with it. Yeah, they're just sort of basic flat pedals, but you get a kickstand. It comes with tool set, comes with front light, comes with a horn, which is quite cool. And it even comes with a bike lock. So, you know, all these accessories that normally you would pay extra for when you're buying your bike, it's quite nice to see them all come in. And I think there's mud guards as well in the box, so you pretty much got everything except a decent rider in my case. Let's just talk about the screen. When you come to the handlebars here, we have the gear shifters on the right, but we have the little control panel on the left and a big display. Now, you know, this display is sort of reasonable, but it feels like you've got a mobile phone attached there. It doesn't feel sporty. It doesn't feel like if I fell off this bike and crashed the bike, this screen would survive. It's also really difficult to see it in bright sunshine, and but it is really difficult to see it. It shows all the key stuff: your current speed, the power mode. There's 5 power modes: from 0 when the bike's off, no power assist, up to 5 where you're getting full power. And the screen does show that stuff. It probably shows too much. And the fact you can't see it very well is a slight downside. Maybe something that could be improved with a different screen. I think there's nothing wrong with just going with basic LCD on these screens. You don't need full graphics and things like that, in my view. You can turn the light on with the control panel here, and that's also where the horn is located underneath. Right, I think that's pretty much the bike in terms of features. So let's take it for a ride around the park and show you it in action. So the seat post is definitely too low, and this is on maximum. I'm 6'3". I can ride it, but it does feel a bit like my knees around my shoulders, and I want to be up here really. I want my leg to be fully extended when pedaling, but at the moment it's not, it's bent. So definitely need a longer seat post. One other thing I've noticed with the bike, it takes nearly a full revolution before the power kicks in if you're pedaling, and on a steep hill that's quite tricky to get working. You have got the throttle though, and since I've de-restricted the bike, the throttle is brilliant. I mean, I've never had a throttle like it. It is like a motorbike, so it's great fun riding around with the throttle. In terms of stability and comfort, it's excellent. It just, you don't feel any bump that you go over. And the fat tyres, those Kenda 4-inch fat tires. They can cope with pretty much everything you throw at this thing. I also forgot to say that the company sends you a pump as well. So not only have you got all that other stuff, mud guards, light, toolkit, they send a pump. You know, unbelievable that they can make this with the battery all for £2,000 and make profit. Incredible. One other thing about the battery I forgot to mention is that it uses Samsung cells, and it's 960 watt hours. So that's 48 volts and 20 amp hours for a 960 watt hour battery. That's a really sizable battery. My Trek Rail's only got 650, so it's got a third more capacity in this battery. And the range is up at around 90 miles if you're riding on a low power setting. But 90-mile range is amazing. You could ride to Bristol from Birmingham. In fact, I might just do that. Right, let's have a look at the bike in action. There's the rear wheel and the motor. Yeah. Woo. Brilliant. So comparing the RV800 against my Trek Rail, it is a bit of a difference. The Trek Rail is 24.5 kilograms, and I used to think that was so heavy, but actually it feels like a lightweight baby compared with the RV800. I mean, it's another 10 kilograms lighter, and the Trek feels like a proper mountain bike, whereas this one, it has got that weight, and that affects, you know, it does affect the braking especially. These brakes are hydraulic, but they can't quite stop it on a dime like the Trek does. But the Trek was more than double the price. The Trek cost me £5,500. This one's £2,000. For that, this thing really does the business. Well, that was an exciting few hours in the park there, and this bike continues to put a smile on my face. I want to go through what I think of it after the first couple of weeks of ownership. Like I said before, I will come back in 6 months and give a sort of long-term point of view. But as far as I'm concerned, this is an amazing value bike. Apart from the strange name, Lankelesai, it's really hard for me to say that. I've said it about 3 different ways in the same video. RV800 for £2,099. Just think about what you're getting. You're getting Samsung cells, 960 watt hours of capacity with a 92-mile range. That's unbelievable. Like I said, you could go from Birmingham to Bristol with that amount of range on this bike. Yes, you might be in one of the lower power modes, but you're still getting a lot of power even in the low power modes. Going off-road was fun as well. I really felt that this saddle was a little bit too low, this seat post. So that's one of the first things I'm going to be swapping out, get a longer seat post. And to be honest, the saddle is built supposedly for comfort, but I'd prefer a normal sort of mountain biking saddle and wear padded shorts. I'm not a big fan of that. As I said before, the display is very difficult to see, but luckily when you're riding, you don't need to be staring at the screen all the time. You just really need to know what mode you're in and do you need more power or less. These fat tyres, these Kenda fat tyres, 4 inches across, sort of pretty standard on this type of bike, but they work well. I would say the brakes don't stop as well as I would hope for, and I put that down to the weight of the RV800. 33 kilograms is sizable, and I don't think it's really meant for single track, proper off-road mountain biking. This is still in that cruiser territory. You can go off-road on gravel paths and things like that, but the real gnarly stuff, I wouldn't be taking this down. But saying that, the rear suspension worked fairly well, I've got to say. When I was up on my feet on the pedals, I was able to, you know, because the tyres are so fat and the weight, you're pretty planted going round on those single track routes. The Samsung cells, you know, I haven't had time to do thousands of discharges, but if they are truly Samsung cells, and there's no reason to doubt that they're not, then I don't envisage any problems with those. Charge time is around 6 to 7 hours. That's from fully empty to fully charged. Most of the time though, it doesn't need recharging because the range is so big. You can ride this for a long time, many different rides. You know, say you're doing 10 miles or 20 miles per ride, then a 90-mile range is going to allow you to do about 6 or 7 rides. Gear changes were very smooth, and that's Shimano chain set as well. They're pretty standard on these sort of e-bikes. It's the lower part of the range, but it's perfectly surfaceable. You're not changing gear all the time when you're on an e-bike like this. So I see no problems there. I love that the battery comes out, and I love that you can charge it in situ, and it's all lockable as well. So it comes with keys, and the amount of gear that Lankelesai have sent with the bike is just off the scale. You've got mud guards, you've got a pump, you've got tools, you've got all this stuff that they've sent through. And I've never seen that before with any bike company, let alone at £2,099. It is similar to a bike I reviewed recently, the Himiway Cobra, but that was more expensive and it didn't have the push of this. And, you know, between the two, I think the Lankelesai wins. So if you're in two minds about which one to go for, check out the description below. And that's a link for you to see the latest price. It might have even come down. Anyway, my voice is starting to go, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going back out on this, and you will not see this smile disappearing. Anyway, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow it, and there's going to be more and more of these reviews. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.